Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to game number 2 here in the first best of 3 of the Vasacast Invitational. I am JoRoSaR, and we have two incredibly talented Zerg players duking it out on Wings of Liberty, of course, for your thoroughfare and entertainment. Spawning over here in the bottom left-hand corner of a map we don't really see too much of in tournaments at the moment. This is, of course, Entombed Valley, representing Team Acer. We have none other than Nerchio. And in the top right corner of the map, we have, spawning as the yellow Zerg player representing Corante Esports from Spain. He is one half of the Spanish Armada. Ladies and gentlemen, we have VortiX. And just for reference, guys, I have actually turned my mic volume down about 10 to 15% this game, so do let me know how that goes. So far, it seems like things have stabilized more or less on the stream. Which is fantastic news. And let's see if this lead can actually be extended there. VortiX winning that long extended macro game on Daybreak. Nerchio currently a game behind. We can see neither player at the moment going for any sort of early pool shenanigans. We have a pool first opening, though, coming out from Nerchio, as we do from VortiX. So nice, solid openers from both of these players. And yeah, there's not really going to be too much going on, guys, until we decide on a tech route a little bit later in the game, once we find out when our players are going to be getting their gas, or until we decide a round of Zerglings is actually appropriate to get some early damage done. I think Nerchio sort of tried his tricks, if you like, in game number 1. Almost worked, but didn't quite work. And as a result of that, in game number 2, he's probably going to go back to what he does best. He's a really sick macro Zerg, actually, which is why what he did in game number 1 might not be expected out of him, so I can completely understand where he was coming from. However, his strength is macro. He is known for being an absolute beast in that regard, so he should fancy his chances against a normal game with VortiX as well. Now, we have a slightly earlier gas coming out from VortiX here. We can see nothing of the sort come out of Nerchio. Just going to be getting his first gas, and that will give him a little bit more flexibility with his build, because he'll be able to grab, of course, enough gas, for example, for Baneling Nest or likely Zergling Speed, significantly earlier than his opponent. That's going to be completely fine by him. Of course, he's also going to be losing out on a couple of minerals, but not so many that it's going to make a big difference at this stage in the game. Zerglings are going to be high-fiving each other in the middle of the map. VortiX deciding to take just a little bit of a bite out of his opponents there, see if they taste good, and it's quite clear that they do not right now. So we have the natural expansions finishing up almost simultaneously for both players at this point, and we have a single queen, yes, managing to kill off a Zergling, but VortiX is still going to be able to get a complete scout off against his opponent. And oh dear, score 1 for the drones, ladies and gentlemen, as that second Zling does actually get picked off by the workers. And the queen popping inside the main base, probably not a good idea for this Zergling to hang around much longer, but he's going to anyway, and therefore he bites the dust. Currently 31 to 30 supply, earlier Zergling speed for VortiX as predicted, simply because of that earlier gas. Nothing too technical about it here. He is currently up 28 rather to 27 workers, and now Nerchio, going for the later timing on that gas, is getting both of them in his main base at the same time. So, not too much to go on about right now in this game. Note the Overlord positioning here from Nerchio. He has one Overlord making sure that he can see the ramp so that anything VortiX decides to throw at him will get scouted. And another Overlord off to one side so that a drone may be sneaking up here, for example, and just putting down the hatch. There's a chance that it won't see the Overlord, but the Overlord will definitely know the expansion timing. So that's the idea behind this. We can see the same thing sort of going on for VortiX, but very much in your face style. I'm right above your hatchery. And this Overlord is just getting into place now. So good stuff coming from both of our players there. We have a Roach Warren and a Spine Crawler in a rather defensive position there. Very nice little Sim City coming out of here from Nerchio. And meanwhile, back at home for VortiX, we're going to be going for a relatively earlier layer compared to Nerchio. You can see it's about to finish up for him, but it's still just over a minute away for our red Zerg player. So Nerchio is going to have to wait a while before we decide on the tech, but in the meantime, VortiX, again with that earlier gas, giving him a little bit more flexibility, is going to be going for a very quick Spire indeed. So that Spire just popped down at the 7-minute mark. So that is going to be entertaining indeed. Let's see what he can do with the Mutalisks. Of course, last game, it was Nerchio trying to get the Mutalisks out, and he successfully got them out, but unfortunately not in time to save his third, and that put him at a macro disadvantage for pretty much all of that previous game. This Spire is going to be out about halfway done by the time the layer completes here, so if Nerchio decides to plonk down an immediate Infestation Pit, for example, because the Infestation Pit only takes half the time the Spire does to actually complete, there's a chance he can grab some Infestors out before the Mutalisks actually go across the map to kill him, unless VortiX rallies the first few out, in which case Pathogen Glands might dictate you need to wait a little while for those Infestors. So we'll see what kind of tech he goes. The layer's finished now. We have Glial Reconstitution coming up, and VortiX just wanting to scout around what's going on with the Overseer here. He will be able to see everything inside the base of Nerchio, all of his tech, and know that, hang on a second, this is actually looking okay for me, nothing too bad at all. I'm looking forward to putting on a little bit of aggression here. This Overlord from Nerchio also sees the group of Lings. So this is going to make Nerchio a little bit wary about pushing out at this point in time, which is exactly what VortiX wants. VortiX wants to leave some units here to try and keep Nerchio at home until he can bait them out. And once he baits them out, he can start running around, doing his best to avoid them, while the Mutalisks perhaps come in and deny the third, because the third base is already established for VortiX at this point. He's also going to be going for that Infestation Pit. Glial Reconstitution complete now for Nerchio. He is making an awful lot of roaches. So it looks like right now that he primarily cares about some sort of massive roach heavy play. He spots the Mutas, of course, picking out the Overlords in the middle of the map, and Supply blocking him to high heaven as well. Another one going down, 90 out of 76, and here is another Overlord that's about to bite the dust. Nerchio is building 5 Spore Crawlers, which is great, but the problem is he's so unbelievably supply blocked right now that this is going to be really tough for him to deal with. The Muta's actually flying over the Spore Crawlers, trying to pick apart the Queens. Great transfuses there from Nerchio. Is he going to have enough? Yes, a second transfuse coming out as well. We also have the Ground Army attempting to take out the Zerglings in the middle of the map, and the Muta is coming back to do some harassment damage on these roaches. Now, it's important to note, only 2 workers killed to 0 at the moment. Not a massive amount, but that's because we have a run-by going on in the third base at the same time. VortiX wants to get more workers killed than this. He wants to do damage, and instead it's actually Nerchio doing damage to him. Will his army be able to come back in time to try and save this hatchery? It's currently at about 2/3 health, and here come the Mutalisks. I think he should be able to clean this up and be okay. The Lings providing a great amount of cover as well. A huge round of zones coming out from Nerchio as well behind this, so kindly note, his workers have been taken apart just a little bit as well. He's 47 to 58. Workers killed, though, 13 in his favor, though, so he is trying his best to macro up as fast as his opponent. He has a lot of drones coming down in the third base as well, and Spore Crawlers going down to try and protect this mineral line, because he knows, at the end of the day, VortiX hasn't really done any massive damage with these Mutalisks in this game so far. So Nerchio is a little bit wary that VortiX might actually be going for something sneaky. However, VortiX is actually going for those Pathogen Glands at the Infestation Pit that's been put down as well. So he's actually going to be switching into Infestors very soon indeed, and he's already going for his hive inside his main base. So he's really trying to tech up off the back of this rather than getting a lot of harassment damage done. In the meantime, these Overlords appear to be having a little bit of a council meeting over here at the Natural. That, or they're actually about 20 different copies of the same Overlord. That actually looks really trippy when you look at it from that angle. But of course that is designed to protect them from Mutalisks so that they huddle around the Spore Crawlers. In the meantime, the Hydralisk Den is going down as well. The Infestation Pit only just starting, so Nerchio is going to have significantly later Infestors than VortiX at this stage of the tournament. This could be a problem for him if VortiX decides to get an Infestor-based push going. Very scary for him. On the plus side, though, with those Hydras, with the Grooved Spine, and the +2 upgrade as well, I think that Nerchio will be able to potentially have more DPS in his army. VortiX has the more mobile army. He has more Lings. He's got these Mutalisks out as well, and he's going to have Infestors that will hopefully slow down or stop any push that Nerchio decides to do. However, he doesn't have the DPS that a massive Hydra army would, and I wonder if this is what Nerchio is going to be banking on. He's sending a group of roaches now towards the third base location to see if he can snipe off a potential fort, just checking to make sure there isn't a base there. There isn't, so he's going to be moving back. The Muta's now near the creep tumor, so Nerchio knows He needs to be careful. He doesn't want these roaches to get caught out in the middle of the map for no good reason. And are the mutas going to see them? They do. So it looks like VortiX is going to try and come in here for a bite, but deciding better of it just in case there were units that can hit them out. And here come the Hydralisks and the Queen. So good decision from him with those mutas. And here goes the 4th base coming down now for VortiX. Things looking hunky-dory on his end, while Nerchio, in the meantime, is spreading his creep quite far. Now, bear in mind, he has the Hydralisk, so he's got the slower army right now. Because Hydralisks, of course, off creep. This is still Wings of Liberty. They are indeed slow as heck. Pardon me. Recovering from illness here, but all is fine. And because they're really slow, this creep spread benefits Nerchio a lot more than it does VortiX. VortiX is going Ultralisks. He's got those Infestors out already, so Ultra-Ling sort of composition. And the Mutalisks, of course, are not affected really by creep, but the Hydras are affected so much. So Nerchio is looking to try and take full advantage of that, and he is continuing, therefore, to spread his creep out into the middle of the map. Chitin is plating nearly done as well for VortiX. Back home, Nerchio is just going to be getting a Baneling Nest to try and deal crowd control just a little bit on these Lings, not wanting them to surround everything. We have a little bit of a counterattack coming through the hallway here, just to check for hidden bases in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. They will not find any, but they will find this base in the center. And there are pure Hydralisks there. It looks like VortiX is going to go for the engage to try and get a little bit of damage done. A couple of Hydras do go down, but it is a pretty solid defense here. The Hatch taking exactly 0 damage, and one solitary Ling desperately trying to kill this Extractor. Won't be able to do so. And we have now a push out from VortiX. That is a decent number of Ultralisks, currently at 2-2 upgrades with those Zerglings as well. What is the upgrade situation looking like for Nerchio? He's got 2-0 upgrades, so he does have the DPS, but he doesn't necessarily have the health to back it up. Let's see what he can do against these Ultras. He's moving straight in. And a lot of Banelings coming in. The Banelings get fungled! The Banelings get fungled! And yes, a lot of them do actually go down. VortiX with a great start to this engagement. Nerchio currently at 150 supply, but so is VortiX. The main meat of his army right now are these Ultralisks. Is it going to be enough? A lot of fungals going down on both sides as well, so the screen effectively a sea of green, and VortiX coming out with a significantly higher supply here, 156 to 114. Nerchio looking like he is nearly out of units here. Still 5 Ultras left alive on the field, and they are absorbing so much damage. The 4th base is going down as well, and it looks like Nerchio is going to give the GG. VortiX wins 2-0.